We got you updated. This is Radio Manzi News in English.
You are tuned to Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa. The headlines. The Minister of Interior says the greatest enemy of security is poverty and ignorance. Experts in eye treatment have called for more efforts to sensitize Rwandans about eye health. President Felix Tshisekedi of DRC is to host King Philip of Belgium in June. Welcome back. News in detail. The Minister of Interior says the greatest enemy of security is poverty and ignorance. Minister Gasana made the remarks in Geyeya sector in Rusizi district, where he and the Minister of Local Government are on a visit to discuss with the residents issues related to development projects and security management. Gasana noted that sending children to school is what will ensure Rwandans' overall safety in the future. He said other potential sources of threat to security were unresolved conflicts among residents. He called on local leaders to reach out to the residents and address their concerns. The Minister of Local Government, Jean-Marie Vianney Gatabazi, told the residents to work hard so that they could benefit from the government programs and infrastructure such as electricity, Girinka and VUP, among others. These programs are integrated local development programs initiated by the government of Rwanda in collaboration with development partners and NGOs to accelerate poverty eradication, rural growth, and social protection. The Minister of Infrastructure says the second phase of the Rwanda development project will involve infrastructure needed in managing stormwater.
So we appreciate dedicated effort and contribution from Nordic Development Fund, NDF, and the Global Environment Facility, GF7, especially for stormwater management improvement in the city of Kigali. So when you look at the topography of the city of Kigali and then the current challenge you are facing induced by the climate change, so and then the rapid urbanization of the city of Kigali, so we really need to care about the stormwater management in the city of Kigali.
This was said in the meeting, which reviewed achievements of the first phase of the Rwanda development project and involved the launch of the second phase of the project, which will tackle various parts in the country. Some of the achievements made in the first phase of the project include infrastructure activities built in Nyarugenge district. The second phase will be implemented in Kigali City and secondary cities, namely Huye, Muhanga, Musanze, Nyagatare, Rubavu, and Rusizi. The second phase of the project will involve construction of roads, provision of electricity and water supply. The mayor of the city of Kigali points out that this phase will also include renovation of wetlands.
But also the second phase of this project is also, bringing in some other consideration for a rapid development. Now, tackling the green investment, we are having the rehabilitation of the wetlands that have been availed of recent, 3 years now down the road, and we are going to have a component on rehabilitation of the wetlands that we have in the city.
The second phase of the project is planned to be completed by December 2025 and will be carried out in collaboration with the World Bank. Christine Mutimura Wekesa, a Rwandan lawyer, was this Friday sworn in as the new Deputy Registrar of the East African Court of Justice. Before her new appointment, Mutimura previously served as the East African Community Secretariat as Senior Legal Officer of the Council to the Community. Experts in eye treatment have called for more efforts to sensitize Rwandans about eye health, saying many people are not aware of good practices for keeping their eyes healthy, and some delay to seek medical care when they get sick. The call was made during an eye health event organized by One Sight, an organization that collaborates with the Ministry of Health to provide solutions to uncorrected refractive errors through establishing of sustainable vision care programs throughout hospitals in Rwanda. The State Minister for Primary Health Care said eye conditions are among the top 10 causes of medical consultations by patients in the country, and pointed out the need to sensitize people to always go for testing so that they can seek assistance in a timely manner in case they have issues with their eyes. The country manager of One Sight Rwanda says a person should have a checkup at least once every 2 years. Rwanda is set to host the second annual International Conference on Public Health in Africa, organized by the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, also known as CDC. Noella Bigirimana, Deputy Director General of Rwanda Biomedical Center, points out that the conference theme, Post-Pandemic Recovery Africa at a Crossroads, will offer a unique platform for African leaders, researchers, policymakers and stakeholders to share scientific findings and public health perspective and collaborate on research, innovation and public health across the continent.
Conference that will be hosted by the Rwanda Ministry of Health, and the opportunity here is really to have we've been mentioning the key leaders, the policymakers, the researchers, the community members and several stakeholders. There are many people that are involved in the healthcare sector that now have an opportunity to come through the scientific program that will be in place, through the various discussions that will be basically planned throughout the 2-3 days conference and around even before, to be able to reflect on the lessons that we've seen in the pandemic, but within the public health system in general. And so being able to address these various challenges and looking ahead at building true resilience for our continent.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Welcome back. President Felix Tshisekedi of DRC is to host King Philip of Belgium in June. This is the first visit by the Belgian king to the former colony since the start of his reign in 2013. The last time a Belgian king visited the country was in 2010, when President Joseph Kabila hosted King Albert II to mark the 50th anniversary of independence. The World Health Organization says a third Ebola case has been identified in Democratic Republic of Congo's city of Mbandaka. The patient is a 48-year-old man believed to be a high-risk contact of the first Ebola patient identified in the DRC's latest outbreak, who died on April 21st. The World Health Organization says for the first time, patients with drug-resistant tuberculosis will be treated over 6 months with an all-oral regimen. Based on new clinical evidence presented and published over the past year, the World Health Organization said the 6-month regimen may be used in place of 9-month or longer regimens or injections in mild drug-resistant patients aged below 15 who have not had previous exposure to the previously used regimen. The Angolan government has invested in agricultural training provided by field schools in order to help local communities to maximize crop yields. The initiative is supported by the government, international NGOs, and the European Union. From choice of seeds to the type of produce and how it is grown using natural fertilizers are some of the techniques that are taught in these schools. US President Joe Biden has appointed Karine Jean-Pierre as the next White House press secretary. Jean-Pierre will be the first black person to hold the high-profile post. She will replace Jen Psaki, under whom she served as deputy and who is said to leave White House on May 13th. Senegal's forward Sadio Mane has surpassed Didier Drogba to become Africa's highest goal scorer in the Champions League knockout stages. Sadio was among the goal scorers as Liverpool overturned a 2-goal deficit to beat Villarreal 3-2 in Tuesday's semi-final second leg showdown. The 30-year-old has set a new landmark for African forwards in the European club competition.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
Some of the imports to the East African community will now attract a maximum of 35% after all partner states settled on the common external tariff. Goods targeted for tax increase include dairy and meat products, cereals, cotton and textiles, iron and steel, edible oils and alcoholic beverages, among others. Kenya's Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina, who is also the chairperson of the East African Community Council of Ministers, chaired a meeting in which a consensus was reached that the 35% tax will be effective July 1st, 2022. This means Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Uganda and Tanzania will slap importers with higher tariffs on the affected goods. The levy to be imposed on imported finished products from non-member states is expected to stimulate local production and industrialization. Moving on ahead with the Rwanda Stock Exchange market report. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 9,479,900 Rwandan francs from 42,500 shares traded in 5 deals on the equities market and 102,200 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 1 deal on the fixed income market. M10 Rwanda closed the counter at 179 Rwandan francs, and the trading session recorded a total turnover of 17,900 Rwandan francs from 100 shares traded in 1 deal. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 260 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 8,788,000 Rwandan francs from 33,800 shares traded in one deal. I&M Bank counter closed at 43 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 258,000 Rwandan francs from 6,000 shares traded in two deals. Bralirwa closed the counter at 160 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 416,000 Rwandan francs from 2,600 shares traded in one deal. Simerwa closed the counter at 120 Rwandan francs. Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs. Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs. National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs. Uchume Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs. And RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.7 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.8 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.28 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.29 Rwandan francs. Rwandan franc buying price was 0.49 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.5 Rwandan francs. The US dollar buying price was 1,010 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,030 Rwandan francs. The British pound buying price was 1,249 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,274 Rwandan francs. The euro buying price was 1,064 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 1,085 Rwandan francs. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.